Hi, I'm Rhett Rothberg from the United States Coast Guard. I'm the Section Chief of the Cloud and Data Branch in the Coast Guard C5I Service Center. Our main role is really almost customer enablement. We do onboarding of mission applications into the CG Cloud, our enterprise cloud. And then we're also kind of charged with being the FinOps team for CG Cloud as well. For us, the future of FinOps is really just doing better at adopting the framework. I think the framework provides a really good structure for us to focus our efforts on. Again, the Coast Guard's pretty new to the cloud. We've really only been even looking at FinOps for the last year. So we've really loved having the framework available to us because it really gives us some guidance and focus on where to put our efforts. So that's definitely our future focus as far as FinOps is concerned. One of the things we just talked about in our Chalk Talk today was about maybe how we tailor the framework for public sector folks. So we definitely need to look at the framework a little more closely and really figure out what components of it will apply to us specifically. Again, a lot of folks moving into the CG Cloud are also fairly new. Our application engineering teams are not necessarily cloud savvy. They've lived in an on-prem world. So things like training and education is going to be important, and helping them sort of understand some of the approaches we're trying to bring to them, like optimization, managing waste, things like that. So we have to get smarter, help other people get smarter so that we can all kind of meet in the middle and pull that off. Actually, I just came from a talk that was talking about maybe using FinOps practices in on-prem. So we don't do that right now, but I definitely took a note today that we're going to need to look at that. We're definitely focused on our public cloud efforts, but the Coast Guard will probably continue to have an on-prem private cloud presence for a while. And so maybe once we get our ducks in a row in the public cloud, we probably really need to turn some focus to the private cloud and use those same concepts so we can start doing apples to apples comparisons and really showing the Coast Guard, like, hey, if this system is operating in the private cloud right now, here's some expected benefits for if we were to move to public cloud. The Coast Guard is a pretty small organization, maybe about 65,000 people. You almost know everybody to some extent. So we work very closely with our cybersecurity teams out of Coast Guard Cyber Command. We do that onboarding piece of bringing customers into the cloud. So we have to connect those customers to all those different groups. And actually my team, we're a bit repurposed. We actually used to be the ITAM group in the Coast Guard Service Center. So we have a pretty heavy ITAM background. And so we've been interested in hearing a lot of things at FinOps X this year about bringing ITAM and FinOps together. We had a great chat with a gentleman from Levi Strauss this morning who was doing just that. And we're like, oh, we need to do that. We know what that is. Let's maybe pull those together in the future. We're evolving by forming. So we're pretty new. I was exposed to FinOps about a year ago and came to FinOps X last year. Learned a lot, had a great time, and I brought so myself and my two other folks from my team this year. So I'm really working on sort of upskilling them. And then one of our goals is after this conference is reconvening and really thinking about what our plans and projects are going to be in the coming year. So by the time we're back at FinOps X next year, we have some results to show. So definitely focusing on upskilling, doing some assessment, and then defining some real places to attack over this coming year. So we're all FinOps practitioner and engineer certified, which is fantastic. We're all looking at pursuing the FinOps professional certification. So just getting more familiar with the framework and the practices, that's something we need to focus on. And then the other thing is over this coming year is really just getting our hands dirty, to be honest with you. We hear a lot of great things that folks are doing here at the conference, and we're taking a lot of notes, and we're gonna, again, boil those down into some things that we're really gonna dive into and learn by doing. It's definitely interesting hearing from all the folks in the commercial world how they work. They're often a little more in the nitty gritty because they have access to data and they have maybe a broader scope of things they're managing. They're probably almost managing all the data for their entire enterprise. In the public sector, it's a little harder to get access to your billing data, especially for using like a reseller model. So we have to look at other ways to look at our data, present it to the people that need to see it, and make it actionable. And then some of the other challenges in the public sector are things like procurement and budgeting, which it's great to have the Chalk Talk that we had today because we're able to collaborate with some other folks and get some real lessons learned on how to overcome those challenges. So the Coast Guard right now, we're multi-cloud. We're in both AWS and Azure. Again, we're fairly new to the cloud. We've spent a lot of our time over the last year just standing up a component that's really sort of a DoD requirement, right? Another piece of that puzzle, which is the secure cloud computing architecture. So that's really been our primary focus over the last year, is just establishing that secure landing zone for our CG cloud. As of right now, probably our two biggest applications are what we call Manta Virtual Desktop, which is our flavor of Azure Virtual Desktop. So it's our VDI solution for all our folks in the Coast Guard. So we had that stood up over the last year. And then recently we just migrated our HR application. We call it Direct Access. We migrated that from a different cloud provider into our AWS cloud. And we just recently completed that fairly successfully. So that was an exciting time. So we're looking to move forward and bring more folks in.